Hi, my name is Devin C. Larson, and today I'm going to talk about how to choose the right type of microphone to record voiceover at home. Before I get started, make sure you like this video, subscribe to my channel, and make sure you turn on notifications so you don't miss my next video. This is going to be number 3 in a series of videos on home studio setup. Check the description below for links to the other 2. And when it comes to considering the type of equipment you'll need for your home studio, second only to your computer, your microphone is going to be the most expensive piece of equipment you'll need, as well as the most critical to making you sound the best. Now, there are 3 main types of microphones that you'll need to consider. There's a 4th, I'll get into that later. And without further ado, let's get started. So the first type of microphone we're going to want to discuss is called a dynamic microphone, and relative to the other 2 types, it's going to be your cheapest option by far. Microphones can range anywhere from around $100 or less to multiple thousands of dollars. Dynamics are going to wind up on the cheapest end of that spectrum. And if you're working off of a tight budget, you don't really have a lot of money to spend, maybe take a look at the dynamic microphone. That might do it for you. The other thing about dynamic microphones is they're way less sensitive than the other options. And that relates not only to how you can handle them, they can withstand a lot more shocks and jolts than the other 2 types, but also how sensitive they are in terms of what's picked up by the recording. You don't have to worry about room noise or weird mouth sounds or whistling on your S's or anything being picked up by the microphone, at least as much, because there's a much higher bar that the sound has to clear before it's picked up by your recording. The downside of that is, because it's less sensitive and the way that the components capture sound and convert that to a signal that your computer can interpret, the signal that it outputs is weaker. And so you're going to have to boost it after the fact, either using a preamplifier in your audio interface or within the software on your computer after it makes it that far. The next type of microphone is called a condenser microphone, and the microphone that you see behind me is a Rode NT1A. It's a type of condenser. And condensers are going to fall between the dynamic microphone and the 3rd type in terms of price. And I would recommend them if you have at least a couple $100s to spend. Condensers can range anywhere from $200 to $1,000 or more, because they're going to record a much more nuanced sound in your vocal recording than a dynamic would. Dynamics, because they're less sensitive, are going to record a narrow range to your sound. Condensers are going to pick up quite a bit more. The downside of this is it's going to pick up everything. The room noise, planes flying overhead, cars on the street, a dog barking down the block. It's going to pick up everything. So you're going to want to make sure that your recording space is acoustically treated. So check out my video on how to soundproof your home studio. I'll have the link in the description to this video. And provided that you do that, your recordings are going to sound much more rich and intimate than if you were using a dynamic microphone. The other thing you're going to want to know about condensers is the components require an outside power source, something called phantom power, something that your audio interface is going to provide. And your condenser microphone is also going to have a preamplifier. And so what's going to happen is it'll record a much louder signal before it gets to your computer on the back end. And so you're not going to have to do as much to it after the fact to boost it up to a listenable level. This is going to introduce way less distortions than you would have if you were boosting the signal on a dynamic microphone, for instance. The 3rd type of microphone is called a ribbon microphone, and I mention them mainly so that you know what it is. You're probably not going to have much dealing with them. Now, they're the most expensive of the 3 types, ranging from over $1,000 to tens of thousands of dollars, as much as a small car. The components in them are way more sensitive, both to handling and in terms of the type of audio quality that they're able to pick up, way more sensitive even than condenser microphones. And this allows them to pick up these indefinable qualities to your voice, similar to playing a record versus listening to a CD. Some models make you sound richer, warmer. Others work better for higher frequency voices. You're really going to want to make sure that you do your homework if you go for this type of microphone. I don't personally think that it's worth spending the money, but true audiophiles seem to like them. So if you do have that kind of budget and are interested, just make sure that you do your research. A fourth type of microphone that warrants a special mention is called a shotgun microphone. These can be either dynamic or condenser, and they look like a cylinder as opposed to your typical microphone shape, and they have holes on the sides that takes in room noise while it mainly records from the front, and then that room noise is canceled out in the recording, so it's a really good microphone for noisy environments. If you're recording outdoors or in a particularly noisy recording space, you might want to consider a shotgun mic. Now, there's another thing that you're going to want to consider, another factor that you're going to want to consider is the microphone's pickup pattern. And there are several to choose from, and I'm going to get into the main ones now. Now that you've selected the type of microphone you want to purchase, the next thing you're going to want to consider is the microphone's pickup pattern. This is something that's going to be listed in the specifications for the microphone. The pickup pattern refers to the direction that the microphone hears or picks up sound that then makes it onto the recording. And there are numerous pickup patterns. I'm only going to cover the major few of them. First, there's an omnidirectional pickup pattern. Like the name suggests, it picks up sound from every angle equally. It's not so useful in voiceover because you're not going to need it to be picking up sound from behind the mic. It's more for orchestra settings where they stick the microphone in the middle of an orchestra that's recording. The main one you're going to run into is called a cardioid pickup pattern. It's named that because if you look at it from the top down, it looks kind of like a heart. It mainly picks up sound from the front, a little bit from the sides, and then nothing from the back. That's going to be the one that you're going to want to go for 9 times out of 10. Now, there's also a hypercardioid pickup pattern, and that's mainly for shotgun microphones. It's similar to the cardioid, but it also picks up just a little bit from the back of like reflected sound. And then the last type that I'm going to cover is called a bidirectional pickup pattern. It's not something you're going to want to use so much for voiceover recording. It's mainly for interviews or auditions or podcasting. It picks up from the front and back, but not so much from the side. So you just stick one microphone in between 2 speakers. All of these microphones that I've been discussing are XLR microphones as opposed to USB, which bypass your audio interface and plug directly into your computer. They are cheaper, but they tend to record your voice in a lower quality fashion, so I would recommend that you avoid them. Now, all the things I've been discussing, the microphone type, the microphone's pickup pattern, these are going to get you to the point where you then want to do your research, read user reviews on the individual model of microphone that's going to work best with your voice type. Whether you have a lower pitched or higher pitched voice, the model of microphone at this point is going to make a huge difference. Thank you for watching my video. I hope it was useful to you in choosing the type of microphone that you want to buy. Please like the video, subscribe to my channel, and enable notifications so you don't miss me on my next video. I'll see you next time.